God brought me from Bangladesh to here so that I can serve some people over here in Rockford. It makes me humble every time I think about it, and it's really, really incredible and rewarding for me.
Yeah, if you're looking for unique in a story, you have come to the right place today. We're going to be talking with Sabuj, who is the Volunteer Supervisor for Rockford Rescue Mission. And he does not have the usual background for someone who works at the rescue mission. Sabuj comes from Bangladesh, which, if you're like most Americans, you could maybe think where it is in the world, but probably not have a great idea. If you think of the country of India, how it looks on the map, go up and to the right a little bit, right along the ocean. That's where Bangladesh is. And comes from the city of Dhaka, a very different culture, and yet an amazing story of how Sabuj came here and why, and how he connected up with the rescue mission.
Yeah, and Sabuj is our volunteer supervisor, and his role works from our thrift store to our many different programs of organizing, recruiting, and coordinating all of those volunteers that we have. And just this last year, we had over 1,000 active volunteers that volunteer more than once in our last year, and over 18,000 volunteer service hours in that. So it takes a lot of work to organize all of them, making sure they're all showing up and working in that. Some of those are just single volunteers just by themselves, and some of those are large groups in that. So it takes a lot of work, and Sabuj is that person that gets to organize and see it all happen. And
yeah, quite a logistical challenge to keep all of that operating smoothly and to have volunteers plugged in where they need to be. So yeah, here is our interview with Sabuj. So Sabuj, I know a little bit of your story. I'd love to hear more. I would love to know what brought you to the U.S. and specifically why Rockford?
An airplane.
Well, yes, but let me rephrase. What influenced you to come to the United States from Bangladesh?
Oh, thank you. Actually, my wife. So she is from Rockford, and we met 4 years back in Dhaka, the capital city of Bangladesh, through work in 2019. And we fell in love. And after 4 years of long-distance relationship, the Lord brought me here, and finally we are together. We are married now. And the journey was not easy for us because you know that we are from two different countries, and it is 12-hour difference. And culturally, there are so many differences that we have. However, it was easier for me to come over here and adapt American culture, tradition, lifestyle, language than her, because it is difficult for her to adapt these things over there in Bangladesh. If I talk about the season, our summer season, super hot over there. It's more than 100 degree Fahrenheit during summer season. It goes to 120 sometimes. So it is difficult for her, but I love winter. I love snow. I never seen snow before. So
well, you didn't see any this winter when you were here. So,
so yeah, I have seen snow in 2024 for the first time.
So tell us about what might have attracted you to the mission. What made you want to work here?
The life-changing work and the gospel-focused work that the mission is doing over here in Rockford. So when I read the mission statement for the first time, I was really surprised. As you know, the mission statement says that Rockford Rescue Mission shares hope and help in Jesus' name to move people from homelessness and despair towards personal and spiritual wholeness. In Jesus' name, there is something supernatural or magical, I must say. And I just loved this mission statement. So when I moved here in America in 2023, after I landed here, the second day, my wife and I, we were going to Target for shopping. And she was driving, and I was in the passenger seat, of course. So I noticed that there was a person next to the road panhandling. And out of curiosity, I asked my wife, do you have beggars here? And she told me that, yes, we do have homeless people over here. And during our conversation, she mentioned that Rockford Rescue Mission is providing shelter and food to homeless people of this community. And I was like, okay, that's interesting. I never thought at that time that I'm going to work for Rockford Rescue Mission. So that was completely different. To work over here, yes, I was looking for a job, and through one of my friends, I came to know that there is a, job opportunity in Rockford Rescue Mission. So I applied, and by the grace of God, the leadership has given me this opportunity to serve here as the volunteer supervisor, and I love it. I love this role.
That's great. I want to ask you more about your volunteer coordinator role, but could we back up a little? And could I ask you, you came to America with some expectation of what you would see, and I don't think that included homeless people, did it?
No, I never thought that I'll be working for homeless people. Even I had no idea that there is homelessness in the great nation, the USA. So
what did it look like in Bangladesh?
So in Bangladesh, we have homeless people, we have beggars. So everywhere you go, you will see there are some people panhandling or begging for money. And it's a common thing over there. And growing up over there, I never heard that in USA, we have homeless people here. So even in the news channels, the television, they never telecast anything regarding homelessness in USA.
So it was almost like God was preparing you for a role in the US when you were completely unaware of that by the type of work you were doing and doing relief work for people in your home country.
Right. So as you know, that I have worked for an international organization, and they are based on USA. So they support countries like Bangladesh. I never thought that a person from an underdeveloped countries like Bangladesh will come over here and serve the homeless people of this country. And I do believe that this is the plan of the Lord. He has planned everything beforehand, and He has brought me here for a reason. To serve the people of Rockford, to serve the guests and residents whom we are serving over here, and serve the community. And God brought me from Bangladesh to here so that I can serve some people over here in Rockford. It makes me humble every time I think about it, and it's really, really incredible and rewarding for me.
It's such a good picture of how the kingdom of God works, that it's never all one way to the other, that it's back and forth, and that God uses unlikely people. You were working in a relief agency in Bangladesh, having no idea that you'd be doing something halfway similar in the US. So it's just fun to hear your story.
I completely agree with you. Yes, it is.
This podcast is powered by Rockford Rescue Mission, a Christian nonprofit serving Rockford, Illinois since 1964.
Open 24/7 and free to all, we offer hope and help in Jesus' name to the hungry, homeless, and those seeking recovery.
Learn more at rockfordrescuemission.org. Thanks for listening.
Let's talk a little bit about your role here, Sabuj. I know you're in the process of changing roles, but you have been the volunteer coordinator. That's a big job. And there are lots of volunteers that come into the mission. Do you have a number, how many volunteers we get in a year here, or whatever number you might have?
Last fiscal year, in 1,075 volunteers, active volunteers who served the mission. Currently, in our volunteer management system, we have around 2,800 registered volunteers. And most of them, they are one-time volunteers, like they come with a school, just volunteer one time, and we hope that they will come back once they have, availability, or when they have free time, they will come and help. And we have some amazing volunteers, regular volunteers who are coming regularly and helping us in our food service department, in our thrift store, and all the departments we have.
So people might look at that need that the mission has for volunteers and then would say, well, I don't have any of those particular skills or something. But what kind of skills or attributes do you look for in volunteers? Because I know it's not as strict as people might think.
Anyone can volunteer here. So requirements, yes. A beautiful smile, a serving heart, a genuine, compassionate attitude. This is all we need over here. So we always request them to come and to sit next to our guests and residents over here, and just to say hello to them. As you know, we are serving most vulnerable guests and people over here in Rockford. So all they need is that somebody talks with them, say hello to them. And this is all we require from our volunteers. And definitely, we do have a volunteer registration process. So when someone from the community wants to volunteer here at Rockford Rescue Mission, so they can visit our website and they can click on Volunteer tab, and that's how they go to our volunteer page. And there is a registration process, a 5 steps process that they complete. They fill out the registration form and submit it to us. We try to understand their interest, so that we can assign to some task that they feel comfortable with doing over here. And we have different departments where we can use their help.
You said something there that was significant, I think, in that you require a smile. I remember talking with a couple of our food service volunteers. It was Scott and Taffy Graham, but they were mentioning how just greeting somebody at a meal is really meaningful to somebody who maybe hasn't spoken with anybody in days. If you're out on the street, you're generally not talking to anybody.
Correct. I completely agree, because it's, as I mentioned before, it's fulfilling and rewarding, because our guests and residents, they may have broken relationships with their beloved ones, like families, and they may not talking with them for a long time. And when someone, I don't know how to say.
Yeah, it changes their facial expression, their countenance, when you actually strike up a conversation with someone who hasn't just felt cared for in a long time.
Correct.
So you've been in your role for a little over a year now, almost going on 2. Has there been a different culture of volunteering that you've witnessed here versus your home in Bangladesh?
Yeah. So personally, I grew up in a community where most of the people they live below the poverty line. They are day laborer, and most of them, whatever they earn in a day, they spend the same amount of money in the same day, for buying food or paying bank loans. So I have seen homeless people everywhere in Bangladesh, particularly in city areas. Wherever you go, you will see some people are homeless. And I even seen one of my relatives become homeless because of poor choices that he has made in his life. And I have seen his sufferings. So I understand a little bit the pain and the suffering that homeless people go through, even though I have not experienced it personally. But seeing my relative, I can tell it's difficult. It's something that broke our hearts. And that's why I love when people over here, the community, they are so giving, so helpful, and they are coming and helping the homeless people who need help over here. So usually in Bangladesh, people volunteer for churches with arranging programs and events. Also, people volunteer for small local organizations like who are doing some awareness-related activities. So, and they ask for volunteers, and people help there. But it is not in our practice. Volunteering is not in our practice. Because over here, the school, the court, workplace, it requires their students or employees to go and do some volunteer activities. Over there, in our culture, we do not do that. So I really am surprised to see how the community people are always providing help to the mission.
I'd love to know a little more about Bangladesh. I think the only time Bangladesh is on the news in the US is when there's a typhoon. And so the only image most of us Americans have of Bangladesh is this ravaged place with flooding. And I mean, I know you get flooding, but gosh, so do we. What's it like?
There is always something happening over there, like either cyclone or flood or earthquake or something is always there. So, and you know, the people over there are mostly live below the poverty line. They are poor and they need help. And so, yeah, probably you have seen all the newses when it comes like there is a cyclone hit the seashore of Bangladesh. So, yes, we are in the news most of the time for that.
It's interesting to me, too, that Dhaka, where you are from, is a city of, I think, 21 million people or something. So it's huge. It's one of the largest cities in the world, but yet most Americans couldn't find it on a map, nor could they find Bangladesh on a map.
So surprisingly, Bangladesh is almost the size of Illinois. So, but population-wise, it is huge. And Dhaka, the capital city, is filled with people. Everywhere you go, you will see a lot of people outside. And which is incredible in one way.
Well, I've not been to Bangladesh. I've been to India a few times. And when I get home, I'm always struck by how much space we have here. You know, you're not elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder with people when you're walking in a city. And I think in a place like Dhaka, you kind of are, right?
Yeah, I mean, when you are going somewhere, usually people over there, they use local bus. And some people are sitting and some people are standing in the bus. And when the weather is so hot, everyone is kind of sweating. And I have experienced that a lot. Every time I used to go work, I used to use bus. So I experienced that all the time. So yes, it is fun and I miss it.
I was just going to ask, even though, you know, we're making it sound like it's not the world's greatest place, but it's home for you. You miss it. And there's beautiful people there and people that are awfully important to God.
Yeah, over there, one thing is I really miss that everyone almost knows everyone. Like if you are living in a community, you know everyone in the same community and they know you. Over here, we are more like individualized and we don't even know our neighbor very well.
Well, I would guess that you're bringing some of that with you to your job, right? I mean, there's some community emphasis maybe that we don't sense as much in America that you don't even know you're doing it probably, but just because of where you grew up and what life has been like, you're introducing some new things here.
Oh, definitely. Yes, I am. And I love to be around people, be with people, because that's how I grew up in Bangladesh. So when I meet people over here, I like it. And I love to host tours. And I love to be with our volunteers. And I love to sit next to our guests and residents here just to talk with them. I try from my end, and I see the staff in Rockford Rescue Mission. They are so supportive, they're caring, and they sit next to our guests and residents and encourage them with their words, which is really good. And this is why we are here, right? We are here for a reason, and to invest in someone and to make a difference, and to be a part of the life-changing work that the mission is doing. And I really am grateful that the Lord is using me here to make a difference in someone else's life. And it's my privilege that the Lord is using me here where He is changing lives, and I'm a part of that. So I feel grateful and I feel humble when I think about that.
We hear all the time from volunteers who say this has been a life-changing experience to do this here, whatever role they may be volunteering in. But can you tell us a story of how someone maybe has been impacted by volunteering here at the mission?
I can share a story about one of our volunteers, Ardi. So she has been volunteering here for the last 16 years as a volunteer. And she became our Volunteer of the Year in 2023. So that was wonderful time when we celebrated her. It was a time that we have seen how the volunteering task impacted her. It was when she was sharing her thoughts and her feelings, it was something that touched me divinely. So one of her statements is very encouraging. She says that she loves to organize food and stuff in the food pantry in our kitchen. And by organizing food and stuff in the food pantry, she is beautifying her home in heaven. So that's why she has been volunteering here for a long time. And it's incredible, right? It's impacted me tremendously, and the volunteering task impacted her.
I know you said there's lots of different volunteer roles, and so no one has to feel, locked into one thing, or maybe they don't have that skill. But what are some of the things where the mission really has deep needs right now for volunteers?
So we can use help everywhere, like the departments that I already shared with you. We have a Hope Clinic where we need help. And we have doctor, nurse, chiropractor, hygienist, dentist, pharmacist who are coming over there and helping. And a good number of nursing students, they're also coming over there and they're helping, doing some medical test like blood pressure checkup and such. And they're helping over there. And we need more volunteer over there. Also, we have a food service department. We have a kitchen where we can use help, serving meals, cleaning kitchen area, helping in the food pantry, and so many other ways. There is always need in the food service department. Also, we have a thrift store where we can use help with sorting and organizing donations. We have a work center where we need help with bilingual support, translation. We need help with taking classes or proctor in our Pearson VUE testing center. So yes, there are so many ways that we can use help over here.
This happens in ministries, it happens in churches where there is a staff. And so people assume, well, they have a staff. They've got the help they need to do what they're going to do, but not realizing that churches and other ministries, and particularly the rescue mission, really does operate on volunteers. So there is a staff, of course, but without volunteers, we couldn't do any of this.
Right. Our volunteers, they are playing a vital role here. As you know, we have around 80-ish staff over here, and we need more help. And our volunteers, they are filling the gap. They are doing amazing work over here. Without them, we cannot imagine running all these activities, all these programs smoothly over here. And I'm grateful that the gracious and generous people from our community. They are coming and contributing for this mission and for those who need help, particularly for our guests and residents.
I read about some research lately that said the most generous people are also the happiest people. And we tend to equate generosity with money, but being generous with your time and your talents, there's such a joy in that, isn't there?
Indeed, I completely agree with you, because they are always bringing their best, their A game with them, and they are investing in lives and supporting in so many ways. As you mentioned, like some people, they feel comfortable by supporting financially, and some, they like to come in person and help. So our volunteers are investing. They are doing a great job over here, and we need their help, and we need more help. So if someone is interested, I would strongly recommend them to visit our website and to complete volunteer registration. And we will communicate with them, and we will assign them with something over here, because we need help over here.
Gratitude. I think that's the biggest thing that stuck out to me from that, was the fact that and that remembrance that as staff or volunteers, we get to be a part and we get to be witnesses to the work that, in the end, that God's doing the work here, and we get to be the managers of that, and we get to witness that each and every day.
I am constantly amazed at the work of God in people's lives and how he prepares us for something later that we have no idea about. But so Sabuj is working in a relief organization in Bangladesh, working with people who are desperate and need help, having no idea that when he comes to America, the land of plenty, he's going to be dealing with homeless people and people in recovery. And what a unique and interesting preparation for that we wouldn't get by hiring someone who grew up in Rockford.
Yeah. Well, and just like the provision in his story too, just to, just by happenstance meet his, spouse also, who came on a trip, and then when they through the, partner organization, and, a few years later, he's moving here, and just like you said, he gets to be a part of Rockford and Rockford Rescue Mission, and just so cool to be a part of.
The network of God just is amazing.
It's nothing that we could do.
No, and it's all over the world. And when we try to put parameters around it, he just routinely shows us that we're not thinking anywhere near big enough.
Yeah, it's that amazement and that balance between that faith and wonder that we get to have, and when you really get to slowly understand. And I think, I'm pretty young, but I think that's like two of the big things that I really want to grow in, is just that faith in God and just that wonder. And it's just stories like these that continually just remind me of just how, we get to serve just a great God that organizes such great things and works that we couldn't even imagine ourselves.
One thing Sabuj was talking about was having groups in to volunteer, and we could just emphasize that a little bit more, that the mission hosts groups from schools, churches, organizations, could be a social club or something, anything like that, or businesses. I mean, there are whole companies that their company retreat day, whatever they might call it, they come here. Yeah. And so you could have 2 people, you could have 40 people, but there are opportunities for that kind of volunteering at the mission. And if that's something that, if you're listening and you are thinking, hey, this could work with my organization, business, club, church, it's contact us, because there are so many ways that you could do that. And it's an absolute joy for people to come and do that.
Yeah, and it's so many different skill sets and levels. Like we have like church knitting clubs that like work together in the winters to make blankets for our guests and residents, and there's stuff like that. There's school groups that come on just general field trips, school trips, but it's just cool and we're always open to ideas as and just contact us, rockfordrescuemission.org/volunteer.